Good Word fam. It is Tisha, and joining me is none other than the Dionne Warwick. Miss Dionne Warwick, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, darling. How are you?
I am wonderful. You know, we're on the go. We're actually out and about, and we're doing this Good Word episode out and about in Bethesda near our Fox 5 studios. We're in studio, but we had to make some adjustments, but we're so happy that you are here. You have a lot that you are doing. You are a very busy woman. Most recently celebrating the 40th anniversary of the We Are the World song and musical and movement. Tell us all about it.
What a day or a night that was. Well, I should say a 24-hour period of time that was. It was wonderful. It was something that was, I think, highermost on everybody in the studio's mind, was to get some food and well-being to those that were quite much in need of. And I think I made it happen.
And now, 40 years later, a lot of the issues and problems that were being faced are still being faced.
Yeah.
How would you describe that, and what's the message?
I wish I could give you a complete message for that. I haven't a clue as to what it is that people find so difficult to be of service to each other. And that seems to be what our country happens to be going through right now, being of service to each other. And it all starts at the top. We all know that. So we have to kind of put on our big girl and big boy britches and become the people that we know we are, and try to get some solvent to these problems that we're going through, because these problems are not necessarily what we should be going through, not the United States of America. And I feel that if we all decide on one accord to do something about it, we can. But it has to be everybody wanting to do that.
Who are we as a people?
That's a good question. I wish I had the answer to that. I really do. I'm beginning to wonder myself. I really am. You know, I love my country, but I don't know what it is that we're going through or why we're going through this. It's madness.
The Good Word is a faith-based podcast, but we're a series now. We're on TV now. And we have something for everyone. But, I'm curious to know the prayers that Dionne Warwick says at night or in the morning when praying for our country.
Yeah, well, I pray not only for the country, but for the people in it. Basically, that we find peace, we find a solution to these crazy problems that have emerged again and keep coming back over and over and over. We've got to put a complete stop to all this madness. I mean, complete. From the very beginning to the very end. It's something that I feel we all want and can acquire. But we have to do it, like I said, on one accord. When you're all doing it together, there's no way in the world we could ever fail.
You are very social media savvy. I feel like I know you because I hear and read so much about your posts. Is that you?
Yeah.
Managing social media?
That's
your
me.
Social media platform?
It's all me, yeah.
So no, there's no one that's doing it for you.
No.
What made you decide to embrace it like this?
Well, actually, my nieces and nephews did. They were here at my home, and they were up in my living room on their phones, twittering, and I mean,
it's X now.
And having a great time laughing. And I was in my bedroom. I came out, and I said, "Well, what are you guys laughing so much about?" And my niece Brittany showed me exactly what it was she was laughing at, and I didn't find it that funny. And I asked her to show me how to do it. And she said, "You want to know how to tweet?" I said, "Yeah, whatever you call it. Yeah, that's what I want to learn how to do." And she showed me. And my first tweet was, "Hi, everybody. I'm here with my nieces and nephew." And they seem to be laughing an awful lot as something that I don't really find quite funny. So, can we now understand that there's now a grown up in your midst, and she does not play like you play? So, let us now look at things a different way. I want you to continue to say exactly what you want to say. I want you to ask me questions. I'll answer them. I want you to answer my questions. But what I want you to remember is there's a way to answer and to converse with one. So when you're conversing with somebody, make sure that it always ends with a smile. And from that point on, um, I I gained the name the Queen of Twitter from all those that were following me. And the president of the of tweeting at that moment in time called me and said, "Hey, thank you." I said, "But thank me for what?" He said, "I think you've just turned around our format here. And it seems now people are now looking at things in a different manner." I said, "Well, that's a good thing. I think that's what we want to happen on social media, to be social." And from that point on, that's what I did.
And you have shared your thoughts about everything and often without a filter. Do you have
Absolutely.
any moments on social media that you maybe want to take back or regret
No,
or
I never do. Everything I say comes from my heart. It does not come from my brain or come just fly out of my mouth. It's given thought prior to being done. And it's understood that way, and everything is done with tongue in cheek most times. That's why I think I'm a comedian most times too, because I do make them smile, I make them laugh, and that's what it's really all about.
that really is what it's all about. I want to ask you, when it comes to faith, when it comes to your prayers, what impact does that play on your life right now with everything that's going on in the world that you were talking about a few moments ago?
Everything. That's I come from a gospel singing family. My grandfather was a minister. Spent 90% of my life in church and still do when I'm able to do so. Um, God is a very, very real thing to me. And I treat it that way. I love him, and he knows I love him. And I know he loves me. Especially, I know he loves me with some of the antics that I go through. But at any rate, faith and belief, I think, has to come from teachings. And I was taught to have faith in God, have faith in myself, and believe. That's what you have to do. You must believe.
You mentioned that you say what you think on Twitter, you ask what you want to know, and the president of Twitter reached out to you. Was that Elon Musk that reached out to you?
No, no, it
The
wasn't me.
prior president.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had any conversations with Elon Musk
No,
as
I
a,
haven't. I have not yet.
okay.
I intend to. That's for sure.
You intend to. Okay. Also, we want to ask you most recently, there was a little bit of controversy with Babyface at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Uh, the reporter on the red carpet apparently dismissing him, and you weighed in.
Yeah.
Expand, please.
Yeah. They have these children doing things that they don't, first of all, know nothing about. When you have someone as important as Babyface on the carpet and you're asking questions of them because someone comes up, does not mean you dismiss or decide that, okay, I've had enough with you. I got to go to this because this one's a little more important than you. Never more important, ever. These children have to be taught what to do and how to do it. And until that happens, you're going to find a lot of those kinds of things going on. With
Yeah.
not only, it's uh, I don't want to use that word, no. Um, it's just not knowing how and what to do.
I want to ask you, have you ever found yourself in that situation?
No,
Never.
never.
Not Miss Dionne. Not ever.
No, I mean, what gives you a thought to want to even dismiss me? Are you crazy? Why come to me at all?
Have you had a chance to talk to Babyface about it?
No, I haven't. And I don't think he really wants to talk about it either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certain he's dismissed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, what questions, do you have? You said, in terms of social media, you use this platform to talk to people, to be social, to ask those questions that you might have. What are some of the questions, that you've asked that you've gotten, maybe unexpected surprise answers
Oh,
about?
my very first one with Chance, the rapper. I kind of said, "Oh, I'm going to toy with him for a minute." And I got a response from him, which was wonderful. And from that led phone calls and conversations between the two of us that eventually led to a recording together. So he
Wow.
is now my friend. With the weekend, the same thing. And there was there E on that end. And he responded as well. Oh, well, I'm in Canada. Yeah, they spell END too there, And we started the conversation. So I think just interacting with people and making them smile has an awful lot to do with social media.
And I think, the way that you are utilizing the platform is it's so incredible. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would be having these conversations with Chance the Rapper, that you'd be having these conversations with The Weeknd, with the former president of Twitter, with, who's globally,
Yeah,
including yourself?
why not?
Did
You
they
know,
ever imagine that they'd be having these conversations with you?
why not? That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's reaching out to each other.
So tell me what's a typical day like for Dionne Warwick? What is something that you'd like to share that we don't know about you?
Like I always tell any reporter, and that includes you already know enough about me.
There's some stuff that you want to keep private.
And,
I want to say, you mentioned a lot that's going on in the world, and there is a lot that is going on in the world. It's been a lot of tragedy and trauma and chaos, back to back plane crashes, including one that was right here in
Philly,
the Washington, D.C. area where we are based. A lot of the victims, uh, families, and friends are call the DMV home.
yeah,
Um, when you saw that unfolding, obviously, I'm sure that you were felt heavy
um,
like so many of us.
absolutely, absolutely distressed. Any kind of fatalities you have to feel for those who have lost, those who are unfortunately the ones who have met their transitions. Um, and there's really nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Keep them in prayer so that they can bolster themselves up and learn to try to deal with what has just happened in their lives. There's nothing more that anyone can do.
It's obviously been a very tough time for those families and for, the world.
Yeah.
This impacted and it touchstones globally. And you being the face and voice of We Are the World, something that was so iconic, that's transcended decades.
Yes.
Um, and recently came together. Could we see something like that again? But different.
I don't know because of the the state that our industry, the music industry, happens to be in. That was a period of time where everybody was in one room at one time on one accord, and that was to get something done that would be sufficient, or at least a start of sufficiency towards those that were not as well off as we are. And there should be no need for hunger anywhere in the world, and especially coming from the United States. The United States should not have hunger, and yet we do. And why? I don't know. I wish I had that answer. I think if I had that answer, we wouldn't have hunger, we wouldn't have homeless, we wouldn't have any of these crazy things that we're allowing to happen here in the States. But, it's just a matter of, like I said, If I can think about it, I think somebody else can as well. And once we all start thinking about it, truly thinking about it, I think that's when we're going to find a solution.
Let me ask you, if you were in the room with, who would you want to be in the room with, and what would you tell them if someone that's in charge?
You wanted to ask me if I was being in a room with Trump that much, didn't you?
If
That's what you
you were in
wanted
the
to
room with
ask me.
President Trump,
That's
what would
what
you
you
say?
get a grip. You need to get a grip. And that means become a human being. Think humanly. Think of what you're doing and how you're doing it. You know, there has to be a method to whatever it is that you're thinking of. Is it going to be good for only you? Or are you thinking about me too? That's what I would ask him.
Uh, and what's stopping you from tweeting him, I suppose, since that is a platform that you often use?
I have no reason to tweet him. I'm at the point now where I'm going to wait and see exactly what comes out of this, his first 100 days. As he proclaimed he was going to be doing certain things, I want to see him do it. And if he comes through, then I will then take time to give him a call or take a visit to the White House.
Did you ever imagine that you would have such a powerful voice in the world decades after you came on the scene? I mean, you're still a very powerful force.
Well, if you think so, I'm just Dionne. I will always be Dionne. And if that's a powerful voice, then that's what it is. I have no issues with being powerful. I just am always going to be who I am.
And you wear so many different hats. Which hat is most important to you?
Being me, period.
Everyone who comes on the good word, we always ask them this question. And so we will open the question up to you. We ask them, what is the good word? What is the big takeaway message that folks can hold near and dear and hold on to until our next episode?
The word is love. And anyone that knows the meaning of love, they also know God. That's it.
Love and God. And Miss Dionne Warwick, where can folks follow you and follow you along your journey and make sure they're not missing any of your posts or tweets or anything that you're posting on social media?
I think everybody knows how to reach me. I'm getting text messages from people I've never heard of before.
So they know how to find
They
you.
know how to
They know
find
how to
me.
find you. Just search Dionne Warwick and you are on all the social media platforms. Miss Dionne Warwick, thank you so much for joining us on The Good Word.
Mhm.
We appreciate you and thank you so much for sharing some time with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, darling. You take good care, okay?
Thank you.